because we got a Bellular video to watch. Warcraft's end prophecy is finally here. That's right, the end of times is nigh. Warcraft 2 is just around the corner. This is the end, boys and girls. I hope you've enjoyed the game because, like I said, the end prophecy is here. At least that's what Bellular is saying. Let's play the video and see exactly what he's talking about.
It's finally time for one of Warcraft's biggest stories to crash onto the Isles. Nosdormu and Morrizond. Galakrond appearing and our first face-off against Ridicron.
Yes.
Okay, we knew this was coming. The question was when, and it turns out the answer is damn soon.
Oh, it's coming. Your
Patch
third evoker spec is coming.
10.1.5 Fractures in
Let me drop
Time.
these.
It's
so
got a
they're not
mega
in the way.
dungeon. The lore keeps on getting more intense. It's called Dawn of the Infinite, and with a name like that, you can bet that Nosdormu will be taking his rightful place as the aspect of the infinite Dragonflight. Now, the last time we saw them properly, fully
I
in
love this whole
Cataclysm,
storyline.
they were
I'm really
pushing
excited
for
to
the
explore it
end
again.
time. Total old god domination of the world. Now, we can put a lot of clues together. How does all this time stuff fit into Ridicron and the whole storyline we've seen be playing out? But, to begin, we've got to go to the smallest and potentially most important character to this whole thing, Chromie. And today's sponsor. Skillshare, where the first 1,000 to click my link will get a month of
Look
premium
at that
for free.
transition.
Right, we did a behind-the-scenes documentary for our upcoming game, The Pale Beyond, and it was actually
No way, they
pretty
did a
damn,
documentary? I kinda
good
wanna
case
watch
for
that.
Skillshare, because Nathaniel Drew is one of the great creators of YouTube, and How to Speak Confidently on Camera, a guide for content creators, is
Cadence is a
absolutely
great
fantastic.
catch-up mechanic.
This is
People
something
who
that
missed
took
part of the
me
expansion or something.
absolutely years
Totally.
to become just okay at. So the help sure would have been nice. Here, Nathaniel will teach you a lot about his process, even show his own behind the scenes. And I mean, for our behind the scenes, certainly the likes of this, extremely useful. Because
wonder
as
where
it turns
Bellular's
out, talking to
studio
a
is.
camera
There's a lot of
is
slanted ceilings.
really
Looks like
quite
he lives in
hard.
an
Doing
attic
it
or something.
naturally, very daunting.
behind
I
him
know,
right now.
I've been there. And what Nathaniel does
He works in an
is,
attic.
is just really fantastic. If you're interested in getting into any of this stuff, maybe even just thinking about, you know, presentation at work, talking into a camera, which now a lot of us do, a hell of a lot more, I think you should check it out. Directly useful in your day-to-day and a brilliant skill for everybody to have. I mean, whether it's Zoom at work, using your phone to promote yourself, your business, just having fun making stuff online, what better mentor than Nathaniel? No goal is too small, everything's a journey, and right now I'm in a position where being used to talking on camera,
I'm gonna
it's
do a
just a
Skillshare.
really good, useful skill to have.
How to
One
be a
I'd
degenerate
recommend. Skillshare, of course,
stream.
has a wealth of career-focused classes, if that's what you're interested in.
My first chapter in my class will be titled Super Rare Come on Me.
Like with my job, as we've covered today, learning new platforms like Shopify or just honing your craft. So, check out Skillshare today. The first 1,000 to click my link will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium.
Chromie and Morchi. This is a
Guarding
very cool
the one true
storyline here.
timeline is
Comes
quite
super
a
rare
job.
on me,
It's
yeah,
always in
that's right.
flux, and sometimes you don't even realize someone's messing with it. That's why Nosdormu is always trapped in thought, or perhaps straight up misses a key event, like empowering the Heart of Azeroth. I mean, yeah, he didn't show up for that. But Chromie is always there to help.
He's the
when
kind of
her
he was out
aspect
getting
can't.
milk. I
She's
guess.
been the lead investigator into the Morrizond mystery.
Didn't show up
all
to
the
the
way back
special
in
event.
time. In Wrath of the Lich King's bronze dragon shrine, she discovered who Morrizond was, but she was confused because it was just a vision of Nosdormu, so she wanted to find out more, but no, Nosdormu and Morrizond, they're the same. She has been
They are
core
one
then
and
to
the
this
same.
Morrizond story since its inception, which could lead to the biggest twist yet. What if Chromie is somehow the key to Nosdormu's fall? Or should I say, Morchi, her infinite counterpart? But I mean, seriously, what? Why? I mean, we saw Chromie fight Fang and Claw with Eternus to save the Bronze Oathstone. She thinks the Infinite are horrible monsters, and she spent most of her time trying to save Nosdormu. But no, she perhaps could be the paradox that causes his downfall.
She could be the one that
the
causes him to
story
change.
may be
Oh,
going
damn.
into another surprising direction. So in Thaltrasis, we
I
saw
really hope we
Chromie
get an
and
infinite
Eternus trapped
Dragonflight
in the
mount.
temporal conflux
I love
that was
them.
just being thrown through time,
They're my
right?
favorite looking
When
dragons in the
freed,
game.
they landed snout to snout in a mirror image. That had to be intentional. But they, of course, were still trapped in the Black Empire.
Nosdormu
And the
is
way to get
Murzon. They're
back
the
to the
same
future
person.
was to work together. that was the first bit of understanding between the Bronze and the Infinites, and it could be setting the tone for the Flights realizing they perhaps have more in common than they think. After all, this expansion has gone to great lengths to make the Titans, or at least their agents, known as Keepers, into, to be uncharitable liars, to be charitable people who selectively told stories that were useful to them. Now, if the majority of what we know about the Titans comes from the perspective of Odin, who, as we've long established, is a total dickhead, then could that be the case for this whole one true timeline thing as well? I mean, even Chromie is starting to doubt the one true timeline, saying she would rather subvert the true timeline to save Nosdormu than to blindly follow it. Which totally seems like the seed for her arc into Morchi, and I suppose it's kind of like some light Sith shit, isn't it?
I was just about to say, this is so Star Wars-esque, like learning the way of the dark side to save somebody. I feel like Morchi is totally falling into an Anakin Skywalker timeline here, where she feels like maybe the Infinite Dragonflight has a way of saving, you know, maybe she can delve into that side of things to save Nozdormu before it becomes Murozond. But in the end, she corrupts herself. I don't know. This is pretty cool. I think this whole storyline is interesting.
Nozdormu sees there is more to the Infinite way of thinking, via his most trusted agent becoming Morchi, right? Chromie turning, and maybe he has an avenue for accepting his fate and becoming Mars.
It's very Void/Titan-esque, right? Like Nozdormu right now, like the Titans, kind of plays in the one truth, the one path way of doing things. Whereas the Infinite Dragonflight believes in infinite possibilities of time. Kind of like the Void and the Titans, right? The Void is all, you know, many futures are possible. All things are true or whatever. And then the Titans believe in only one truth. There's a lot of connections there between the two.
If that lines up, then maybe we have a solution for who tried to kill Chromie back in Legion. Because, yeah, loads of people have forgotten about it, but the deaths of Chromie just might be key. Chromie has one huge outstanding mystery. Who the hell tried to kill her in Legion?
That's right,
so the deaths of Chromie it's a real head-scratcher. It's also a marvelous bit of content that you absolutely need to play if you haven't.
Yeah, this was great, this questline.
Chromie realized that someone was trying to kill her at different points in time. But our Chromie then still did have time to try and save herself. So we traveled the timelines with Chromie, trying to figure out what the hell was going on after Satyr, Scourge, and various others were trying to blast her and worm her. So
they do have the best looking dragons in the game.
Past. It's into the Well of Eternity, right? The Cataclysm aspects have just showed up to get the Dragon Soul, and we see that Chromie gets completely fried with fell fire and is killed. We go to the Battle of Anderhall, where the Alliance and the Horde are both trying to kill her. So we've got Fel, we've got Void, we've got Death, we've got all the factions, everyone's trying to kill Chromie. We, of course, save her, we fix all the timeline stuff, but when we asked her who did it and what was going on, well, she didn't have much to say, but there was cut text from the PTR version of it where she said that we would find out in time. Well, we haven't found out, and it very much seems that now is the time. So, who did it? It has to be someone powerful with time magic, which narrows our options down to the likes of the Bronze and the Infinite Dragonflight.
Condi did it, yeah. Condi tried to,
now, sure, there are other timekeepers, but I think nobody with the motivation to kill Chromie, which
I need an Infinite Dragonflight
part. So,
skin.
Why would they want to
100%.
kill her? I mean, there's a few options. Was it Morchi? Did Morchi want to kill Chromie? But if Morchi did that, then Chromie would never become Morchi. And plenty of times where we've seen the Infinites go to try to kill people, they end up killing people that they know would present a problem to them in the future. It's all time bullshit, don't worry about it. What about Murozond himself? Well, if Chromie is the key to saving Nosdormu, sure, but we know Nosdormu dies as Murozond because we killed him, and Morchi is probably as loyal to her aspect as Chromie is. So why would he take out one of his greatest agents before they got the chance to do anything?
Interesting, yeah.
Does kind of just leave you with the Bronze Flight. Who knows, maybe that's a crackpot theory. But Chromie is currently wrapped up in the heart of this infinite story. She is going to be going toe-to-toe with them throughout history. But
we are at
the
edge
moment of corruption is coming,
the WoW
and if
multiverse
Chromie is the key to that, or Morchi is the first of the
Time
Infinites,
to get
then the
we already
Bronze
saw
will
an
have
Infinity
all the
Gauntlet too, but
motivation
it was
they would
broken.
need to take her out. Could we see the Deaths of Chromie Part 2, where we have to go back in time and, I don't know, do hijinks with demons, satyrs, and Scourge into killing Chromie? That would be a bit crazy. I suppose it would kind of explain things,
What
but...
if it was Murazon trying to kill Chromie? I don't know.
Anyway, no matter, the deaths of Chromie...
I mean Norz Dormu. What if Norz Dormu knew that Chromie becomes part of the infinite Dragonflight, becomes Morchi, and ends up leading to his corruption, so he goes back in time to kill her? Oh my god.
It's a humongous mystery.
Oh my god.
We don't really know who orchestrated it, and it's almost certainly going to be relevant here. So as you know, the Bronze Flight are the protectors of the one true timeline. That's the
one
big
true
Titan timeline.
A very Titan-esque theory, right? Very tight. One true path, one true timeline, the one truth, where the void is many truths, many timelines, many possibilities. They're always
themselves awakening
each other.
Azeroth as the final Titan, and everything comes up Aman'Thul, and they're all happy. Now, the Infinite Flight wants to change this one true timeline, and the traditional answer is what Morazon sort of said. So when Aman'Thul empowered Norz Dormu, he showed him much of time, not everything, but key to that is that he did show him his own death. And the logic goes that at the moment of Norz Dormu's death, the old gods are going to try to trick him into subverting it, which then ends up creating a time paradox that's beyond repair, shatters a bunch of bullshit, and the Bronze Flight end up having their big old rebellion. Some of them end up going infinite. But that story playing out on the Dragon Isles seems kind of slim right now. I mean, all the old gods are dead or elsewhere, and yeah, their legacy is on.
Whenever Norz Dormu talks about his future becoming Murazon, he talks about it as if it's an unavoidable truth, that it cannot be stopped. And Chromie is of the attitude that she doesn't believe that she thinks it can be stopped. So that's why this whole thing of her becoming Morchi kind of makes sense, and that maybe she thinks that this is the only way to save him. Where Norz Dormu's kind of taken the stance that, well, if this is the one true timeline, me becoming Murazon is unavoidable, because he only believes in one truth. He's just been raised that way by the Titans, right? So there's kind of a difference in thought processing between him and Chromie.
Dragon Isles, but it's not like we've seen Yogg or N'Zoth whispering into people's ears, telling them to
got my 4-piece nice.
Deaths.
I haven't opened my vault yet. I'm gonna
but
open
don't
it
worry, there is
video.
more to it. So Norz Dormu saw something else, something coming for us that is so horrifying that the end time, which we see in that Cataclysm dungeon, which is the old god victory in Azeroth, would, per Morazon at the time, really be the good option compared to what else is going to happen. So literally, that dungeon where we kill Morazon, that is his idea of the good ending.
It's the right way.
What's coming then? We don't know, obviously. It likely has something to do with what N'Zoth and the jailer spent. And I'm sorry, I don't like to bring the jailer up, but it kind of happened, didn't we? What is to come, right? Whatever the big spooky horizon thing is.
Please,
now, of course, the thing is that Warcraft has changed a lot since the Cataclysm. Did they even know what Morazon was saying when he said his final words? Aman'Thul, what I have seen. And what did he see? What did they think it was back then?
Poor Chromie,
does it line up with all this cosmic stuff we saw with Zovaal? Does it mesh in with this cosmic void stuff that we've seen in Aberrus that's actually been really cool? I mean, who knows? But
Zovaal, true
what we have seen a lot of in this expansion is, of course, the Incarnates and the Spectre of Galakrond. You might be wondering how all of this fits into Morazon's story. Okay, now it's time to put the puzzle pieces together.
Yes.
So we turned up on the Dragon Isles, and as soon as we got to the seat of the aspects, we have Norz Dormu's vision being clouded, right? He can't see through the timelines. Now that happened to him back in the Cataclysm. And who was it then? Well, it was the only person powerful enough to counter him, Morazon.
Himself.
So who's behind it this time? Probably Morazon.
Yeah.
I mean, Morazon picks his moments well, clouding Norz Dormu's vision only on the eve of very significant events.
Morazon goes back in time and plays with Norz Dormu's vision. In essence, he is guaranteeing his own creation, because Norz Dormu needs to become Murazon. So Murazon is ensuring that he becomes himself. So he keeps clouding Norz Dormu's vision too, so that way Norz Dormu can't do anything about it, can't avoid it.
And this time round,
it's actually a really badass storyline.
Norz Dormu finally becoming
one of the better
Morazon.
storylines that Blizzard tells.
We know Morazon's
They're usually
true
not very
death
good at telling stories, but this one they are.
Or at least
I like the
that's
storyline.
one ending for him. I suppose it technically depends on Blizzard's interpretation of time bullshit, but whatever. I doubt, and we know for a fact, that we won't be killing him in this mega dungeon. No, the plan has got to run much deeper, and it's got to tap into a force powerful enough not only to destroy the aspects, but everybody else. Galacron, then. And this is where the whole thing comes together with one guy standing in the middle of all of it, and that guy is a Ridicron.
Ooh.
We're finally going to fight a Ridicron in Dawn of the Infinite, the new mega dungeon.
Yes.
We're not going to defeat him, but we will fight him.
No.
Now, he's got himself one of Nosdormu's most powerful artifacts, and he's jumped back in time to use it.
Anything Infinite Dragonflight related, I love the look of it.
But we have to distract him for long enough to allow Chromie to stop it. So why? I mean, we know Ridicron, right? What? He's pretty straightforward. He just wants to kill the aspects and turn everything the Titans built to dust. But there is something a bit deeper here, and a bargain with Morazon from deep in the past.
And the giveaway is not US only, by the way. Anyone can enter. That message is old.
The established lore of Ridicron that we find out after the raid is that he was the last of the incarnates to be imprisoned, right?
Yes.
Now that's because in the final days of the Dragon Wars, when all the other ones were imprisoned, Ridicron made a bargain with something terrible for power. And a lot of people have wondered, who is it? Is it an old god? No, probably not. That's what Deathwing did. It would be a bit boring if Ridicron, the earthy incarnate, did the same thing. Some people have speculated the light, but given how Blizzard are obviously going to want to tie their timelines together, it seems pretty damn obvious that he made a bargain with Morazon and the infinite Dragonflight. But what does each side get in this bargain? Well, for Ridicron, it could be pretty straightforward. Power. Enough power to destroy the aspects.
Who doesn't want power?
What could the Infinites give him? Well, I think the big thing is Galacron. They could literally drag a horror from the past to Ridicron, give him access to that, and have Ridicron either, well, what we're pretty sure happens in the dungeon, try to like slurp up some of that good Galacron juice, become very, very powerful and strong. Right? Seems to make sense. Now, to go further in all this, we know via the Dungeon Journal that the Dawn of the Infinite Mega Dungeon features an infinite corrupted Tyr, right?
Man, that's such look at that. Holy crap, he's got his chest blown open. This thing is so
reason
cool.
The aspects became
this
a
model
thing.
Is so badass.
It's Tyr who did the uplifting, and he could be the key to their undoing. It's also kind of implied that he accidentally kind of created Galacron in the past.
You don't really need power when you have the power of time.
More, to get into with Tyr becoming infinite, but I think you can see the possibilities Ridicron has by teaming up with Morazon. He could literally make it so that the aspects never existed. He could somehow access all of that big, great Galacron power. And as I'm sure you've seen from Twitter and stuff like that, and people doing size comparisons, Galacron's like way bigger than a city.
Look at the person. That's a person. Next to Galacron.
Galacron's very, very chunky. Now, what do the Infinites get out of this? Well, their number one motivation is to make sure that Nosdormu becomes Morazon and that they happen. The Infinites that we see in the Mega Dungeon come from a timeline where that has already happened, and I suppose they are there to ensure that it does happen, perhaps that it does happen in the one true timeline. Who knows? It's time bullshit. Making a bargain with Ridicron and knowing that he would be imprisoned for 20,000 years, that would be absolutely nothing to them. If I was good at making music sounds with my voice, which I can't, I would start humming the Tenant music and saying, temporal pincer move, and, other associated Christopher Nolan bullshit. Anyway, the key to their plan is here and now, where Ridicron is finally free, right? He can now kind of do his end of the bargain.
He's going to make his move.
I suppose for the Infinites, they get to ensure that Morazon happens, and for Ridicron, he gets to go destroy aspects, which is the sort of thing that is also kind of in line with what the Infinites probably want.
That gets him off for sure, killing aspects.
Titan fans. And so we see this convergence, right? We see the Infinites, this plot line being unleashed in the Isles right as Nosdormu is fated to become Morazon. There's only one outstanding part of the plan. It's rather huge. We're once again being forced to dive into Timeways and clean up the Infinite Dragon mess.
Yes.
But the stakes are higher than ever. They are back in the scene with one thing in mind, making Morazon a reality. To do that, they've made a bargain with Ridicron. They're both getting something out of it, and whatever it is, it's bad news for us.
Right.
But there's been one thing outstanding. How are they going to use Galacron? It's not like we're just
He's
fighting
dead, yeah.
Galakrond in
No,
the
he's dead
dungeon.
in
I
the-
mean,
in the
look at the
dungeon.
screenshots. We're going back to just after Galakrond died. Now,
Yeah.
there is something about Galakrond's legacy and the empowerment of the aspects that we're going to find out likely in 10.15, and really the only thing between us and that knowledge, rather fittingly, is time. I would imagine, at the very least, that when he is freshly dead, that that's pretty much when it's going to be time to slurp up all of his essence. I mean, obviously,
Interesting.
he's
gonna suck
you
him
go to
off
right
after he
now,
just
he's
died?
bones. It's like the Scourge tried to do a thing with that. We obviously thwarted that, but now he's just bones. He's not particularly useful. So
Right.
evidently, him and his recently deceased form is really important. I mean, why else would we go back to when he's recently deceased? So there you go.
So we're gonna
Big
suck him
things
off
are
just
going
after he
on.
died. That's
I think
good.
what's likely
Sucking
going to
off
happen then is
Galakron's
we
dead
will
dick.
see
Okay.
the
get his
dawn of
power.
the infinite, as the dungeon's called. This is the first thing we'll see, and the second thing we'll see is Ridicron getting even more power, being able to go further along his plan,
Cool.
setting up some big bullshit for patch 10.2. Whatever craziness
Yes.
will go on there. I imagine then that with a 10.25 and a 10.27, which will probably then end with,
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe a
and the
10.3
expansion.
that's also like a greatest hit season. That'll be kind of it for this expansion. And whenever we
I don't
defeat
think the rest of this
Ridicron,
expansion is
I
just gonna be
think
Bronze
some big,
Dragonflight stuff, though. I
juicy
do
thing
think,
is going to happen that will propel
I
us.
still think we're gonna get a green Dragonflight, Night Elf, World Tree, like all that shit's gonna happen too. So we're gonna get a patch around the Emerald Dream and all that stuff. That's gonna happen. So this Bronze Dragonflight shit is not gonna last the rest of the expansion, but
into the future.
it's certainly about to happen.
There you
now.
go.
We're about
That's
to start
the theory.
it. Kick that
Tell
part of
me
the
what
story
you
off.
think. Okay, with that said, you can hit the box that is either here or here for some more content. Thank you for watching. Thank you to our sponsor for sponsoring. Help
No,
us pay
thank you,
bills.
Bellular.
With that, I'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you.